Hey everybody, Argent here with a reactionary review of, I guess, both John Wick films. Now, people might be wondering why it took me so long to do a review of both of these films, especially since I normally review movies the day or the day after they come out. But for this one, I just really wasn't sure what to say. It's kind of like why I never put up my review of the original John Wick film, because I didn't really have anything to say about it either. It's kind of one of the times that my friend Abstract and I really disagreed on the movie. I was not like a big fan of either John Wick film, but he really liked it. So what was kind of my issue with the John Wick films? I guess I kind of feel that they were for those, maybe let's take a step back. For those of you who haven't seen the John Wick films, basically it goes like this. John Wick 1, John Wick kills people. John Wick 2, John Wick kills more people. John Wick 3, John Wick kills everybody. All it really is just John Wick killing people. That's the entire movie. There's really no plot. There's really no story. There's really no characters. It's just kind of John Wick killing people for 2 hours. And then the sequel has even less of a plot. So the premise, if you can call it that, is John Wick is a retired assassin who got out of the assassin industry, and he got married, but his wife died of cancer. So he spent the last 2 years just lying around his house reminiscing about his wife and hanging out with his dog that his wife got him. So at the beginning of the first movie, Theon Greyjoy basically beats the shit out of him, steals his dog, kills his dog and steals his car. And so that pisses John Wick off. So John Wick just goes on revenge to kill Theon Greyjoy and everybody vaguely associated with him so that he could get revenge for the death of his dog. And that's literally the plot of the first movie, is just John Wick killing people. To revenge himself because of his dog. And that's kind of the closest the movie gets to a story. Just killing people. You have the head of the Russian mob trying to kill John Wick. You have a bunch of just action scenes. I mean, the movie has really good action scenes. John Wick kind of uses gun fu a lot. And he's just an incredibly skilled warrior. With a pistol, he just cuts people down. There's scenes where he takes 20, 30, 40 people without taking a hit. He's called the Boogeyman, or basically Death, incarnate in the films, and everybody considers him to be the greatest assassin who ever lived. So the first movie just ends with him killing the Russian guy, and you're like, how can they have a sequel? This movie barely had a plot. So the sequel begins with him getting his car back. There's the brother of the Russian guy he killed in the first movie has his car in his garage, his chop shop. But he has his car in the chop shop, but he's like, well, John Wick is gonna come in and kill all of us because we killed his puppy dog and because we stole his car. And his second in command is like, why don't we just give his car back, sir? He's like, no, we can't give his car back because he won't stop. And the guy's like, why don't we just try? And he's like, I want you to leave. So John Wick comes in and he just kills everybody. He kills every last member of the Russian guy's gang, gets his car back, although it's completely trashed. And then he goes into the Russian guy's office and he pours 2 glasses of vodka. And he says, peace. And the Russian guy says, peace. And then he just walks out. Which means the entire action scene before was completely pointless, where he kills 40 guys, and it could have just been resolved if they had have given him his car back. And it turns out he wanted his car back because there was a card in the car that had a picture of his wife. So that was what happened. So he goes back to his house to just kind of mourn his wife, and then this, I think his name was D'Antonio. I forget his name. We'll just call him the Spanish dude. So the Spanish dude comes to him and he's like, John Wick, you got to get back into the game. He's like, I have a marker. See, this is something we're just introducing in this movie, but assassins can give people markers, and the marker is good for any one job. If someone calls in a marker, you have to honor it. There's only two rules in the Assassin's Guild. You can't fight on the Continental or even any of the branches of the Continental, which are hotels where assassins hang out. And that markers must be honored. So the Spanish guy's like, here's the marker, I need you to kill someone. And John Wick's like, no, I'm out. And he's like, no, you got back in. And John Wick's like, no, I didn't want to get back in. These Russian assholes attacked me in my home. And the guy's like, okay, well, be that way. So the Spanish guy leaves, and then he blows up John Wick's house with a grenade launcher. So John Wick's new dog manages to survive, but John Wick's like, I gotta go get revenge because this film needs a plot. So he like goes to the guy, and the guy's like, all you have to do is kill this person, and then the marker's gone. So he goes to Rome to kill the sister of the Spanish dude because his sister was willed the seat as the head of the Gomorrah, which is one of the crime families that makes up like the International Crime Syndicate Council. That's kind of like the Illuminati, but he wants her seat, so he sends John Wick to kill her. So John Wick succeeds in like finding her, and she winds up slitting her wrist because she wants to die under her own terms. And then he shoots her in her head after she bleeds out, fulfilling the contract. So then we're treated to like a bunch of really long fight scenes where John Wick just kills more people. And then after he does that, the Spanish guy calls him, and the Spanish guy's like, I have to avenge the death of my sister, so I'm going to take out a big contract on your head, John Wick. And John Wick's like, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to kill everybody else who send after me. So they put a $7 million bounty on his head. So then John Wick goes to kill the Spanish dude, and like every assassin in the city of New York comes after him, and he just kills them all with mild concern. And basically John Wick just keeps killing more and more people, and he finds out the Spanish dude is at a museum, and he gets help from Morpheus, who apparently is like the head of part of the Assassin's Guild in New York that uses like homeless people as spies and like to kill people. So Morpheus helps him, and he goes to the museum and he shoots a bunch more people, but the Spanish guy gets away. So then they wind up at the Continental, and the Spanish dude's eating a meal, and John Wick comes in, and the Spanish dude's like, you can't kill me, this is on the Continental. So John Wick shoots him anyways, so his membership to the Continental gets revoked, and he's declared excommunicado, meaning every assassin has a duty to kill him, and he's no longer allowed to use any of the Continental's facilities like arms dealers or stay at the hotels, etc. So the movie ends with like Alfred Molina saying, I'm going to give you 1 hour, John Wick, and then everybody's going to try and kill you. And John Wick's like, I'm going to kill everybody they send after me. And Alfred Molina's like, yeah, I know you're going to kill everybody they send after me. And then the movie ends with him limping away with his dog. And there we go. I went through the complete plot of 2 whole movies in like 5 minutes. And that's kind of my issue with the John Wick movies. The action scenes are phenomenal, but there's just zero reason to care. And I think that's probably by design. I could see these movies as kind of being self-aware pseudo-parodies, where it's like they've just stripped any flimsy pretense of a plot or flimsy pretense of a motivation out of them, and it's just literally John Wick killing people because they killed his dog. The sequel just feels like a complete asshole. They're like, we need John Wick to kill more people. We need more action scenes. So some shadowy guy from his past is going to show up, and he's going to blow up his house, and then John Wick's going to go kill people. And halfway through the movie, they're like, okay, John Wick fulfilled that contract. So then the guy who hired him is going to have to go in and try to kill him so we can have more action scenes and we can pad this movie. And I think it's supposed to be a satire. Like, I think it's supposed to, like I said, be just kind of commentary on action movies and just kind of commentary on this type of film that, like I said, is just stripping away everything that would add any kind of depth or motivation. Like John Wick is literally just killing people with mild concern because they got his dog. Like the amount of body count this guy racks up is just comical. And you gotta like wonder, like, what about the families of these guys? What about the construction workers on the Death Star? It's kind of like that. A lot of the guys he kills aren't even like evil; they're just security guards, like who are just doing their jobs. But he just brutally murders all of them, and it's just, I don't know. Abstract really likes these movies. A lot of people really like these movies, but I kind of like want a reason to care. I need like even like a really basic plot. Like it could be something dumb like Commando where they kidnap his daughter and he's trying to get her back and he's fighting like some corrupt dictator of a Latin American country. It can just be that. Like it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but there's just like there's no real reason to really hate the bad guys. There's no real reason to sympathize with John Wick. A lot of people seem to think he's a good guy for being an assassin, but yeah, I just don't really see it. So I'm not a big fan of the John Wick movies. I think I kind of find them boring despite the action scenes, just because they're like the least emotionally invested movies you can possibly get. And once again, I think that's by design. And admittedly, it's kind of an interesting experiment, I suppose you could say, in filmmaking. But being an interesting experiment doesn't really make it a good movie, nor does it make it really interesting to watch. So that's my like review of John Wick 1 and 2. If you just want like a really dumb fun action movie, I recommend watching them because they are good action movies, but I just kind of find them boring and lame. So that's the review, and I'll talk to you guys later.